It doesn't take long for newly coined words to go viral in our mobile culture. But we've got nothing on Shakespeare, who minted over 1,700 new words back in the 1500s. For example, he made a household word, a household word. In this brief message, I just want you to notice a few of the words that he made marketable. Long before cell phones, Shakespeare had already come into the habit of metamorphizing one word out of two. And so I'm going to mimic the bard as I play fast and loose with the English language. I'm looking for 90 prexters. That's right, people that will pray their text and text their prayer. Basically, I'm looking for 3 people to take one day each month out of the next year and prext me starting June 1. What game is afoot, you ask? Well, we've got a goal, and it's not for the faint-hearted. We want to train the world in marriage. About 40 years ago, Don and Sally Meredith almost called it quits after 1 year of marriage. They couldn't turn their radio dial to Family Life Today. They couldn't find a marriage section in their local bookstore. So they began with an assumption. If God created marriage, then He knows how it works. After spending some time studying Genesis 1 and 2, they pulled a Shakespeare. They coined a word. Oneness. They coined a phrase. Every marriage must move from performance to faith. Since then, their biblical principles have helped around 2 million families worldwide. And why that sounds like a huge number, we still have to touch 5.98 billion people. I believe that marriage is the Trojan horse of evangelism. We can afford to be stealthy. Because what I've noticed is that people will become vulnerable when their marriage gets uncomfortable. But we're not going to spread this message of oneness without the power of prayer. There's the rub. All I'm asking you to do is to pick a day and pray that God would help us train the world in marriage, that every husband and every wife and every culture will experience God's plan for oneness. It doesn't have to be a flowery prayer. It can even be an inaudible prayer. One of my favorite verses on prayer comes from Ecclesiastes, where Solomon says, God is in heaven, you are on earth, so let your words be few. Now, I need a few prexters for a couple reasons. First, I have an Eeyore complex. I can get gloomy on a sunny day. And when I get 3 texts from you in a day, it's going to remind me that even when I feel worthless, God is worthy. Even when I feel limited, God is limitless. I've learned the hard way. If I don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. I'm that cold-hearted and I'm that distracted. And so once a month, I'm giving you the chance to say a quick or a long, doesn't matter, prayer for me, and then text me. The other thing it does is it helps me to move you from my ineffective thoughts to effective prayers. God calls His people to pray for a purpose, and not just when they're in a pickle. There was a missionary that came from Asia to America, and he spent some time in the churches here, and he made the convicting statement, it's amazing what we've accomplished without the power of the Spirit. I heard someone say, if it's not impossible, it's not worth doing. I don't want to be a part of something that only I can do. I want to be a part of something that only God can do. That if He doesn't show up, then it won't happen. But if the past is prologue, then God moves His hand when we bend our knee. Will you join me? Will you be one of the 90? Until then, until we meet again, know this, parting is such sweet sorrow.